service of CNC Worldwide.
The Daily is a service of CNC News, brought to you by the Greece Chamber of Commerce, providing more than 800 area companies with business solutions since 1984. I'm Bud Lowell, and your full AccuWeather forecast is right across the top of all CNC local news pages. Kodak said Tuesday evening that Antonio Perez will stay on as CEO after Kodak's emergence from bankruptcy, but only until the company's new board of directors names his successor. Kodak released the names of its new executive leadership team, the people who will manage the company after the reorganization is complete. Perez has agreed to serve as CEO and a Kodak trustee for up to a year after the emergence, and he has agreed to serve as a consultant for up to 2 more years after that. During that time, Perez will be a special advisor to the Kodak trustees and work on the transition to the new CEO. This plan still requires U.S. bankruptcy court approval. The hearing is set for August 20th. The cab of a tractor-trailer went up in flames at the height of the Tuesday evening rush hour, and it shut down traffic on 490 eastbound as thousands of people were trying to get home to the eastern suburbs. The truck caught fire right about 5 p.m. on eastbound 490 between the Linden Avenue and the Commercial Street East Rochester exits. Brighton and East Rochester firefighters quickly doused it. Traffic was at a standstill for a solid hour until authorities managed to get one lane reopened. The fire left the truck cab a burned-out shell. The driver and his wife were in the truck when it caught fire. Both got out safely and were being assisted by the Red Cross. Speaking of getting around, crews hold the topping-off ceremony Wednesday, meaning the final beam is being put in place for the RTS Transit Center in downtown Rochester. The central terminal on Mortimer Street is designed to get the bus transfer point off Main Street and into an enclosed shelter that spans the entire block between St. Paul Street and South Clinton Avenue. It's sort of son of Renaissance Square light. Topping out means the steel work is completed. The rest of the construction can begin. It is scheduled for completion in 2015. A Rochester businessman owes the government more than $11.5 million after pleading guilty in federal court Tuesday to filing false tax returns. The U.S. Attorney's Office says John Gizzi of Rochester now faces up to 6 years in prison, as well as fines, back taxes, and $7.6 million in civil penalties. He'll be sentenced November 4th in U.S. District Court in Rochester. Prosecutor John Field said Gizzi used several of his businesses to conceal his income and inflate his expenses. Field said Gizzi concealed more than $4 million in earnings and claimed $1.3 million in bogus expenses. He was caught by a joint Internal Revenue Service FBI investigation, and this is said to be the record tax evasion fine for Western New York. This fall's homecoming celebration at the Rochester Institute of Technology will feature a talk by U.S. astronaut Mark Kelly and his wife, former Congressman Gabrielle Giffords. The annual Brick City Homecoming and Family Weekend is October 10th through the 13th. Kelly and Giffords speak at the Gordon Field House October 12th. Giffords, of course, was shot in the head by a gunman in January of 2011 at an event in Tucson, Arizona. She was critically injured and several people were killed. Less than 7 months later, she returned to the floor of the House before resigning to focus on her recovery. Kelly, of course, is an astronaut and cancer survivor. Their joint memoir has topped several bestseller lists. New York's Department of Environmental Conservation says preliminary test results found high levels of toxins in a blue-green algae being found in Honeoye Lake. Homeowners around the lake began to notice the algae earlier this summer. Blue-green algae blooms can occur in freshwater lakes and ponds, and they can cause health effects when people and animals come in contact with them. Symptoms can include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, skin or throat irritation, allergic reactions, even breathing trouble. And blue-green algae can also produce toxins for still unexplained reasons that can affect the liver and nervous systems. DEC is cautioning people to stay out of areas with discolored water. The algae can form a surface scum that might look like green paint spilled on the water. They say you should keep your dog out of that water too. To the left of the player window are links to these and other stories, and at the bottom of the page, links you can use to share photos and things you know. Next news podcast is As It Happens, updates as necessary. I'm Bud Lowell, CNC News.